Let's have a whole lot of fun. Let's start with Nebraska's wide receiver room. So, Ja'Cory Barney, Dane Key, Isaiah Hunter, Hardly Gilmore, and Houston wide receiver Jonah Wilson, who is not officially signed with Nebraska. I've been told, basically, if you look at Sean Callahan's report, actually, let me pull it up here real quick, because basically he explained why there hasn't been much said. Let me pull it up here. He's been crystal balled, okay, and his 95% chance he comes to Nebraska. The plan is for him to join the team as a walk-on in January, since the 85 scholarship limit still constrains Nebraska until July 1st. That's why there's been no formal announcement about his additions. The guy's a four-star out of high school, 6'2", 200 pounds. D. Shorts, our wide receiver coach, recruited him into Houston, got a rapport, 3 years of eligibility. A lot of these guys I'm going to talk about, Isaiah Hunter, Hardly Gilmore. All right, you look at Jonah Wilson. These dudes got like 3 years of eligibility left. These are young, talented guys. Like, the present is exciting and the future is bright. The potential for, I will say this. What did Dana Holgorsen think when he watched our wide receiver room? He's like, I got to bring in like 15 new wide receivers. Wow. We need some upgrade in wide receiver play. That's clearly the message that's been sent. Dana likes his guys. This is a guy, as we know, likes to throw the ball. Got a talented quarterback, now got an experienced quarterback, got his wide receiver coach that he wanted, D. Shorts from Kentucky, who had been with him previously, played under him at West Virginia. There's really no excuse for us to have a well above average passing game. All right. So you look at a guy like Jonah Wilson, 6'2", 200, got speed, four-star coming out of high school. By all appearances, looks like he's going to be on the team, walking on in January. Get a guy like that to walk on. Like, what? That's phenomenal. But it's a new landscape of college football. You got NIL. Things are going to change come the summer. Get him on scholarship then. Go to the 105 scholarship limit. So that's a talented guy. You got Ja'Cory Barney coming back. I've likened him to Tavon Austin like 14 billion times, and rightfully so. Now, Tavon was a little bit thicker, but Ja'Cory plays. And he's also not as old as Tavon was, obviously, by the time he was done. He's got some time to get in that weight room. But Ja'Cory plays just as physical. You watch him block. You watch him run with the ball. You watch him break tackles. He plays just as physical. I love the fact that we had him back there returning kicks towards the end of the year. Undoubtedly a Holgorsen idea. So for me, I get excited about a lot of the guys we're bringing on, about the talent, about the size. You look at Dane Key, 6'2", 189. You look at Isaiah Hunter, 6'2", 192. Hardly Gilmore, all right, from the transfer portal from Kentucky. He's the shrimp at 6'1", 165. I'm joking, of course. But seriously, when that's one of your smallest wide receivers, actually your smallest is Ja'Cory Barney, but he's already proven and shown what he can do, and he's only going to get better. So you talk about Wilson joining in January. You've got Ja'Cory Barney, who has shown he can run with the rock. He can catch the rock. He's a willing blocker. Holgorsen didn't know his name, but he talked about his number in one of his press conferences in December, leading up to the bowl game, how physical and how tough he was when it came to blocking opponents' DBs and players in the second and third level. You look at a guy like Dane Key. He was Kentucky's best receiver. He's a guy who could have gone to the NFL draft and been drafted in the top 3 rounds. You look at Isaiah Hunter. He was Cal's best wide receiver. He led them in 3 different receiving categories. So it really wasn't a debate. It wasn't like, oh, it was him or something. No. The 3 top receiving categories, he led them in. Cal wasn't great on defense, but they scored a lot of points offensively if you watch them throughout the year. Played Miami down to the wire, beat Auburn. Okay, everybody beat the SEC this year, but I digress. The point is simply this. You got a lot of new guys coming in. Every single guy that I've mentioned so far, by the way, was a 4-star coming out of high school. Right? Dane Key, Isaiah Hunter, Hardly Gilmore. I think Ja'Cory was a 3-star. Holy cow. All right, we got one. Then you look at Jonah Wilson. He was a 4-star coming out of high school. So these are talented dudes with size in a system with a coach who knows what he sees in them, wants them, got them, and it's going to be fun to see where he puts these guys. Now, Jalen Lloyd did an interview this past weekend. He's going to Oklahoma State now, nothing but the best. All right, this was a guy with top-end speed, elite speed. I think he averaged 19 yards per catch a year ago. 2 years ago, as a true freshman, it was Marvin Harrison Jr. led the entire Big Ten Conference in yards per catch. Second was Jalen Lloyd. He had less catches, obviously. But it was about 23 yards per reception he had. And he had the 2 longest touchdown receptions in the Big Ten. This guy was talented. But consistently, when you watched him, young player, bright future, going to get better, rooting for him. Omaha kid, got nothing but love for him. But he did not consistently get open, needs to work on crisper routes, which is why he did not have a ton of catches. Okay, he only played 3 plays in the bowl game. And he talked about, hey, he liked Dana when he came in, liked D Shorts, but basically it was too late. He didn't feel he was going to get enough opportunities going forward in the future. That's fair. That's fine. I'm cool with that. Nothing but the best to him at Oklahoma State. My point is simply this. He's right. Look at this room. Now, can I sit here and say that we're a great wide receiver room right now? No, we haven't even taken a practice snap yet. But to project realistically what this room could be, there's a very realistic chance, in my humble opinion, it could be elite, if nothing else in the Big Ten. An elite wide receiver room, if nothing else in the Big Ten. And I don't see any reason, if Dylan's playing the way he's capable, and now should. There was a lot of times last year I'd hear people say, oh, he's young. I don't like that excuse anymore. I don't want to hear that excuse. Why? Just because you don't want to hear it doesn't make it any less valid. I said all offseason, he's a 19 true freshman starting quarterback. You don't know what you're going to get. And that's exactly what you got. You got ups and downs and highs and lows because he's talented, inexperienced. There was OC issues throughout the years, we know. I think we got the OC issues figured out. He's still got the talent. Now he's got the experience. Now we need the improvement. We need the next step. By the way, you're surrounded by a lot of talented guys. There's no excuse for him not to take a giant step going forward, just starting with being consistent. And I don't blame him for being inconsistent. Again, he was a young guy. But I said in the middle of last year, I said, I'm going to talk about Dylan differently next year. But I'm going to maintain what I said about him last year. Well, now we're going into next year, and I'm looking at it differently. I don't expect perfection. I don't expect anything like that. A noticeable improvement. Noticeable. Non-debatable type of improvement. That's what I'm looking for. All right. You look at this wide receiver room. Haven't done anything yet, but the talent is there. The play caller is there. The quarterback is there. You even look at some of the guys who are a little bit overlooked. I talk about Jonah Wilson simply because nothing official has been laid out about him coming, but that is the projected plan at the moment. Seems 95% sure that that's the way it's going to go. Here's a guy who I do believe has been a little bit forgotten about. And I actually want to shout out to Andy Jurasek, who sent this to me. He works for our website, CarrikerChronicles.com. He's like, hey, man, are you talking about wide receivers today on the show? I was like, yeah. He's like, don't forget about this guy. All right. Mac Markway. And I'm just going to read Andy's text to me. Also, one player people have completely forgotten about is Mac Markway, the kid who randomly transferred from LSU last year. He tore his ACL. All right. Markway was a member of the 2023 class and rated as the number 8 tight end in the country, the number 5 overall player in the state of Missouri, and the number 178 recruit nationally. It's interesting because Mark actually put out a tweet. If you follow him on the social medias, pretty sweet headshot of a Nebraska helmet. Coming for vengeance in 25 will make every hashtag Big Red fan swell with pride. Hashtag Go Big Red, hashtag coming soon. So keep that guy in mind. That tight end room. Best of luck to Borkashire and Fedoni and everything else. But you got Lindenmeyer, who they already love. You got Harburg, who's going to be a tight end, but I still think they're going to move him around. Has shown he can block if you watched in the bowl game. He's just a football player. All right, don't forget about Markway. So to me, there's a lot of excitement when it comes to pass catching. I love Emmett as a running back. The running game I'm not addressing yet. I know Rules mentioned Quentin Ives 19 billion times over the past couple of years in press conferences. I know they like him. Then Holgerson mentioned how well he was playing going into the bowl game, how well he was practicing. So maybe that's the 1-2 punch. We still need a third back to step up. You've got to have 2 backs fresh for a game, and you've got to have a third in case someone goes down at some point. And the offensive line, okay, yes, Elijah Pritchett was added. By the way, I think people have forgotten he was actually a couple of years ago coming out of high school the number 1 offensive tackle, rated offensive tackle according to 247 Sports in the entire country. Now, I'm well aware of his struggles a year ago as far as giving up pressures and sacks and things off the field. That's where, when I talked about him last week, that's coaching. He's got to buy in and do it himself, okay? He's got to let himself be helped, but that's on the O-line coach. You got an absurdly talented kid on our team now. If I were to list the 5 most purely talented kids on our team now, he's one of them. What are you going to do with him? Our O-line coach, Donovan Raiola. Dude, I'm excited to see what you can do with him. It's about time we had a good offensive line. Not addressing all that today, although I kind of just sort of did. But my point is simply this. I'm simply speaking to what the pass game could be today, and to me, it's exciting. Now, are we going to be able to protect Raiola? Don't know yet. Do we have another proven running back beyond Emmett? No, not yet. But when you look at the pass game specifically, and it all balances off each other, play action pass, running the game to set up the run, screens, passes, blocking on screens, all that stuff plays off each other. I'm just specifically talking about our ability to throw and catch the ball. Can we block? Can we run? Can we do the other things? We'll see. You got any thoughts on any of that, Jake? Am I wrong? Do you contradict? Do you agree? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I still want to wait and see, because, I mean, I think if you look at last year coming in, you would probably have been pretty happy with the additions that they had in Banks and Nayor. And, you know, I think you had middling returns, maybe, if you want to say that. So
middling?
Yeah.
That's kind.
That's nice. So, yeah, I kind of want to wait and see, but I think between your big three, between Dane Key and Isaiah Hunter and Ja'Cory Barney, you're lucky that you don't have to wait and see, right? Like, these guys are proven. You've seen them, at the D1 Power 4 level. And then another name just so I want to throw in there, whether it's between wide receiver or tight end, is Carter Nelson. I think that's a name that's got to get lost.
How did I forget that name on the list? You make a great point. Sorry. Did you have something else?
Oh, no.
You make a phenomenal point. Now, in fairness, you make phenomenal points. In fairness to me, how many times did you hear me talk about Isaiah Nayor or Jamal Banks last year? I mean, I talked about him, but how often? Not a ton. How declarative was I? Not a ton. Do you know why that was? True freshman quarterback, didn't trust the OC. So to me, that factors in. Experienced quarter, and if Dylan doesn't improve, then this isn't, I don't want to say it's null and void, but this is contingent on him making a noticeable jump, which is appropriate to expect at this point, and I trust our OC. Last year, I was like, hey, those two guys are really good. I don't know how getting the ball to them is going to be, and I don't know about the play calling as well. So that's part of it as well, but you make phenomenal points. But that's why I'm like, I think this is fair to look at it for now, but also how does the whole picture offensively look, because it all plays off each other.